Let's now have a look at this beautiful green section, which is actually a simple knit and purl texture. It looks like you have cables for those like herringbone slanted ribbing parts, but actually it's just because you're offsetting your knits and purls and it kind of looks like it's twisted, but it's not. So that's a pretty neat like illusion. This one is theoretically very simple knit and purl repeat, but in practice you do need to pay attention to what you're doing to not mess it up, because it's like 2 stitches knits, 2 stitches purls, 2 stitches knits, and then you have like suddenly 3 stitches. So make sure you look at your pattern in detail. It's an 18 stitch wide repeat plus 1 stitch like to finish, to have it symmetrical. So make sure you use stitch markers for this one between each repeat, so that you can make sure that each repeat you end up on the right stitch. Otherwise you probably will need to frog, or at least I did need to frog quite a few times without doing this. So we're gonna work up one repeat together, and I'll show you with the chart because I find it much easier to work this one up with the chart. One more thing I wanted to say is that so it's made of blocks of 4 rows. So every like this little section is 4 rows. And once you made that first one of the 4 rows correctly, then the 3 next one are just knit the knits as they come and knit the purl and purl the purls as they come. So it's like paying attention for 1 row, knitting 3 rows like a robot, paying attention for 1 row, knitting 3 rows like a robot. So let's do one repeat together. So for this section, I find it much easier to follow the chart than the written instructions. It's only knits and purls, but because they are like alternating in a regular and irregular way, as in that there's like 2 knits, 2 purls, 2 knits, 2 purls, 1 knit, 2 purls. So it's sometimes 1, sometimes 2, sometimes 3. I find it easier to follow on the chart than in the text instructions. It's a repeat of 18 stitches plus 1. So I'm gonna cast on 19 stitches, and the first row I'm just gonna knit every stitch of the row. This is to avoid because we're changing colors in the blanket for that first row. If you have any purl stitches, that purl bump is gonna be in the contrasting, like in the previous color, and well, I don't think that's pretty. So I always start my row with a simple row of knits. And then we can start the repeat on the second row. So a bowl means that you're gonna knit on the wrong side and purl on the right side, and an empty square is a stockinette stitch, so it's knit on the right side, purl on the wrong side. So I need to first knit 1, purl 2, because we're on the wrong side here. So you're going to read here from right to left. So knit 1, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 1, no, sorry, knit 2, sorry. I'm getting myself confused. So knit 2, we're here, purl 1, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, and then finish with a knit 1. So I like to have a stitch marker after each repeat in like the whole, when you're doing like the whole blanket section, just so that you know, okay, you finished with a knit 1, so you're correct. It can be easy to like have an offset of 1 stitch in here, and if it's wrong in 1 repeat and then you offset all the other repeats, you have to like start over. So that's for row 1 of the repeat. So the repeat is 16 rows high, and then we have 3 extra rows that are the same as the 3 first rows, just to continue the pattern to get to like the complete height that we need for our blanket section. Now if we take something, it's easier with a ruler. If you take something to just like follow along where you are, I find it easier to read the chart. So you can see that like row 2 and row 3 are the same. So that means you're gonna knit every knit stitch and purl every purl stitches. So like just knit the stitches as they come, and you can do that for 2 rows because we have row 3 and row 4. They are like all the same then as row 2 was. So we're gonna work the stitches as they come. So this one is a purl, so I'm gonna purl it. This one comes as a knit, so I'm gonna knit it, knit, purl, purl, knit, knit, purl, purl, and you keep going for like a full 3 rows total. So like 2 more rows of just doing the stitches as they come. So we have done row 1 to 4, and you can start seeing the stitches, like the repeat and the pattern show up. So now we're at row 5. So you can see row 5. Basically the stitches are like offset by 1, and then here in the middle you have 3 purl bumps, and then offset by 1 again. Because you are row 5, you are on the right side. So a ball, like a dot, means you're gonna purl, and an empty square is knit. So I need to purl 2 first because I have that first one that's like my extra 1 stitch. So I'm gonna purl 2, then you knit 2. So purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2 again. And here you're gonna purl 3 for the middle one. And again, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, and you finish with a purl 2, and that's correct. So now we can see 6, 7, and 8 are all the same as 5. So that means you're gonna work the stitches as they come. So you can just like purl the purls, knit the knits. In the written instruction, you'll see that 5 and 7 are the same, and 6 and 8 are the same because it's like right side, wrong side. So like the actual instruction, if you followed 1 stitch at a time, is different, but it's actually like making the same row. So I'm just gonna work those 3 rows. One more. So now I'm at row 9. Row 9 is a right side row again. So on a swatch like this one, it's kind of hard to see which is a right side row and which is a wrong side row. So this part on the right side is this part on the wrong side, and vice versa. So it's like following each other. So it could be like a different section on the other side. But if you're working on your entire blanket, you can easily see it with the other sections. Otherwise, what I like to do is I like to put like a little stitch marker on the right side, so I know when I'm on the right side, just to help me keep track. So I can do that now. Here I have one. And I just put it like on the fabric at the bottom, and I know stitch marker is the right side. So row 9, we need to knit 1, purl 2, and then continue. So we're gonna knit 1, purl 2, then we knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, and purl 1. And I can check here that I'm correct, because that 1 is the middle one of the 3 I had before, which is like my reference point. And then it's knit 2, purl 2 until the end. And I have one last stitch, that's a knit, that's correct. So that's how I like to like double check what I'm doing. And now again, we have 3 rows where we do exactly the same. So if you can see, like 10, 11, and 12 are the same as 9. So you're just gonna knit the knits and purl the purls. And I will see you at the end. Okay, so we are back on the right side. We can very clearly see the twisted ribbing pattern start to show off. So what looks like a twist is just when you switch from a purl to a knit, from like offsetting by 1 stitch, it just looks like you're twisting things, but you're not. So that's the fun of this stitch. Anyway, we are at row 13 now. So 13 again is a right side row, and we're going to start with 2 knits and then 2 purls, and then work the row as indicated. So we have 2 knits, 2 purls. What did we have then? 3 knits? No. 2 knits, 2 purls, 2 knits, 2 purls again, and then 3 knits. 2 knits, 1, 2, 2 purls, and then 3 knits. And here again, I can check that it's correct, that I have my 3 knits with like the center one that's in the center, which corresponds to this like spike here. And then we're gonna do 2 purls again, 2 knits, 2 purls, and finish with 2 knits, and that matches my chart, so we're good. Now again, you have 4 rows the same, so you can do the next 3 one by just knitting the stitches as they come. And then we have 1 final row of our repeats. So we are back on the right side. You can see like the full repeat. We have 1 more row in our repeat technically, just because we started with 3 the same instead of 4 the same, because we had that starting row of flat stockinette. So that's what this last row of the repeat is for. It's just to make up for that one before you start from the red box again. But it's just the same like stitch repeat as like the row 2, 3, 4. So as you can see here, it's a pretty stretchy stitch, because it creates some sort of a ribbing. So it can be that in your blanket, it's pulling in a little bit, because your section height is not too high. And when you block your blanket, it's gonna be opening up, so it won't be a problem. But it might be that before blocking, you can see some slight pulling, and I just want you to know that's normal. And that's it for this section.